Hello, this is Bouquet with a new time-lapse. This time I'm trying out gouache. This is the first time I'm using gouache. Before I have used oil color quite much when I was younger, and when I went to art school I only painted with oil color for a while, and I have been using watercolor for some periods in my life, but never gouache. I have been a little bit scared of using it, but my husband was about to buy some gouache color for him, so I couldn't resist to buy some for myself as well, and decided to try it out. For this piece I went with a portrait of Viola, also known as KillerColours. I have been following her for so many years, and I have been drawing her a couple of times. I think the first time I drew her was like 7 years ago or something. So I've been following her quite long, and I know her face enough so I can feel relaxed drawing it, so I can concentrate more on the material. Of course I need to concentrate to get the likeness when I'm looking at the reference photo, but I can do it in a more relaxed way when I know the face a little bit better. And when starting using this gouache, I began by attacking it as I use oil colors and tried to work fast and blend it together that way, and that didn't work at all. So I got way too much color in the paper, and the nice thing with gouache is when you wet it, you reactivate it. So I added water and then I just dried it off and began once again. You can't really get away everything from the paper, but for me it was enough to be able to start over without redoing the sketch. So instead of doing the way I did the first time, I tried to block in the colors by adding thin layers and cross-hatching. And in the beginning I quickly noticed that the colors get a little bit too wet. It reactivates the color that I said earlier. So when cross-hatching, I could kind of blend together the underlying layers with the new ones, because when I cross-hatched over, the underlying layers some of the colors come up in the cross-hatching. So that way I got like these nice nuances, but still I think I got another kind of surface than just blocking in flat layers. This is kind of how I like to work. When I get a new material, I try to experiment with it, not always in the way that material are supposed to be used. It's more about me trying to find surfaces that I find interesting and how I can achieve these. And by cross-hatching, I like the surface that I got. And then on top of this cross-hatching, to smoothen it out in some areas, I could just wet the paintbrush a little bit, and then just really easy brushing over the colors. That way it kind of smoothen out some edges. But I wanted to keep the cross-hatching in some places, so I tried to find the right balance in between where I wanted this sharp cross-hatching and those more blurry areas. And it took so long time, but I really enjoyed the process. So, and one thing I found really difficult with gouache is that when the gouache is wet, the colors look either lighter or darker compared to when they are dry. And you don't need to add much water to gouache. I have heard that if you add too much water, you lose the binding in the color, so I try to be careful with the water. But when you're just adding like a drop of water, you get a totally different color. So the dark colors seem to look darker when they were wet, and the light colors tended to look lighter. So it was a little bit tricky, and to work with that I ended up by sometimes mix like base colors and then waited for a little while so they could dry in the edges, and I saw how they looked, and then I had these base colors that I could work with, and from that mix in other colors when working. I guess when you're used to painting with gouache, you learn to now know how they look dry, or you use them like they are directly from the tube if you're fast working and good at gouache, but I'm not there yet. So this is how I worked with it for making it work for me. I loved working on this so much. I'm not sure how I will use this in my work. I like how it dries to this really matte soft surface. You get like this nice graphic feeling when using it, and I think that looks really pretty. The back side is that when drying matte, the colors that are dark don't really get that punch that I'm used to have when working with the other colors, but it looks kind of cool. And I had read some time back in time that you can use varnish, and that can make the colors look more like when they are wet, but I haven't dared to try that yet. So I might experiment some with that and see how it works, or I will just use my regular color pencils and use the gouache more for like the areas there where I want a more graphic look, for more like embellishment and flowers surrounding it or something. I'm not sure how I will use it, but I think I want to add that contrast in some way. And for this piece I didn't use color pencils, but I wanted to add some kind of interesting element or something that gave it some kind of contrast. So I decided to go with gold leaf in her eyes, and I really like how that ended up looking. So this is the finished piece I did of viola. It was an experiment piece, so it doesn't look like my usual work, but I kind of like how it ended up looking for being an experiment. I had really fun drawing this, and I will probably do more gouache experiments. The color I used was Winsor & Newton, and the paper was Methane's Touch. I will write in the description box the spelling of the materials I have, so you can find it if you want to try it out. Thank you for looking, and hopefully I see you next time. If you like my videos, press that subscribe button. Thank you for watching. Bye!